whakarongo ki te tangi a te korimako. Kōrero flowing out the hook of force. Kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds, kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā kona whakapiri mai ki te kaupapa tino whakahira hira whakarongo pi kari kari mai. Hare hare mai, o Taringa hare hare mai. We gotta gather up close everybody. Gather up close everybody. Kani move that body. Kani move that body.
Kani move that body in your seat or wherever you are. Ia koutou e whakarongo mai ana. Kia māua e mihi atu nei tēnā koutou nau mai o ki mai. Kia Taringa e whakapāho atu nei I te wānanga o te aroa. Anei māua ko te puaheiri, ko Snow. I thought that was going to be the... that was cool.
That was a cool one.
Nō reira, tātou mā. Welcome back to Taringa, of course. And I tēnei wiki, it's once upon a time. Engari mua o te kōrero mo tēnei wiki, te pūrākau, te pakiwaitara rānei. And actually I'm going to leave that with you all to think and ponder about. Pūrākau and pakiwaitara. What is the difference? Is there a difference?
Kia ora.
Hoi anō, before we get into Once Upon a Taima, we're going to have our kiwaha. And the kiwaha we've picked today, o ngā kiwaha, o tēnei wiki, is...
Kei runga no atu.
Nō reira, koe nā tātātou kiwaha. Kei runga no atu.
Kei runga no atu.
Kei runga no atu.
What does it mean? I was taught kei runga no atu means you're just amazing, you're just up there. Kei runga no atu.
Yeah.
Engari mo tēnā.
Engari mo tēnā. If I was to put it on a scale, it's a bit better than pai.
Kia ora.
So it's not the be-all, end-all.
Ai.
It's not like te mutinga ke mai nei o te pai or kaore he painga, you know, like all those kiwaha. It actually means, yeah, that's a bit better or that's much better.
Ai.
That's much better. That's a bit better.
Ah, yes.
That's the wairu of that kiwaha.
So if we're looking at it literally, you can see it's kei runga no atu. So it's just a bit above from where you were before.
Yeah, on the kiwaha degree scale, it's better than mā te aha.
Ah, yes, okay. So it sits in between there, there and Aotaia?
Yeah, I would say. So an example, perhaps, I used to do this.
Yep.
In this other job. And now I do this.
And now I do this with my clothes on.
Kei runga no atu.
Kei runga no atu.
Or someone's, maybe, you know, maybe people are singing and everyone's flat, and then they give another go and only one person's flat.
Ai, tika. So there's room for improvement, with kei runga no atu.
Yeah, it's absolutely. It's not, but it's not the, you know, the absolute greatest.
Yep.
As some people use it, they're like, kei runga no atu.
Yeah, kei runga no atu.
Yeah, like, different, you know, it's different to ko koe a runga and ko runga tēnā is when you're here in the East Coast, ko runga tēnā. But kei runga no atu means, yes, that's a bit better, that's much better, but it doesn't mean that it's the be-all, end-all, it's the absolute best.
I think we have to be mindful in that because... understanding the scale of things, there is a scale. Yeah,
and when I say that's better, it's not the kangangaro that's better.
Okay, yes,
when you've gone from, you've improved.
Yep.
That's different.
That's a different,
Yeah. So, kei runga no atu.
Ai, kei runga no atu, o ku mohi o ranga mo tēnā.
Hoi, no tērā, I naine te iwi ka huri ki tā tātai kōrero mo tēnei wiki ara Once Upon a Taima.
One upon a Taima.
One upon a Taima. According to Tainui tradition, 'twas Tāwhaki who ascended up into the divine echelons to fetch the 3 vessels of enlightenment. That story we'll visit another time, but for now, we will look at the great demigod's offspring. Tāwhaki had a son named Wahiroa. When Wahiroa came into manhood, he wedded a maiden named Kura, and she bore him a son named Rātā.
E kura, kia kama mai.
Shhh, ko hoki mai a pāpā. Shhh, e te tau, te horo hoki o tō hokinga mai. My love, your return was swift. Did you fetch many plumes of the kohirangi from the lands of Pariroa? E te tau? E te tau?
Mo taku tutu e te whaia. Excuse the interruption, my lady. Kua maua hau kia koe he tau wā. I bring you news of bereavement.
Oh, where? Taukuri, no, please, no.
Ai, tis Wahiroa. We ran into trouble as we passed through Pariroa. Wahiroa's cohort was ambushed on the way home.
Piki ake te ara o tō tūpuna ki te ara kuiti. I whakatauria ai te ara o
Once upon a Taima, a young Rātā was but a baby when his mother received the horrid news of the murder of his father, Wahiroa. It was from that day onward that Kura would plant and foster the seed of retribution within him. Kia ngaki ai te mate o tōna matua.
Get off.
E oho, my son. Rātā, e ara taku te maiti. You were sleep-talking. He tohu mate te moe, Nanu. 'Tis an omen. Tell me what you saw.
I was following these birds. One was a kakerangi, a kohirangi, and a kohiwai. I followed them across a river, and on either side of the river the land was scorched and soddened with the tutu juice. I turned to find myself at another place. The pungent smoke of cooking flesh burns my sinuses. There stood a man with my likeness. As I pressed my nose against his, he collapsed into a heap like a bundle of pueru. The earth below rumbled with a deep laughter. Mama, was that my father?
Ana, kua tae te wā. It is time I told you what happened to your father, and the quest that was bestowed upon you before your legs could even carry you.
Kura went on recounting to her son the story that spoke of his father's murder.
Many matariki before, your brave father set off on an expedition to retrieve the most exquisite plumes from fowl that had no indigeneity to this land. They travelled across the back of Tangaroa to the unknown land at that time, known today as Pariroa. Wahiroa, my love, your father did not return. They say they were met with conflict on this quest, and your father was one of many casualties. It is believed that the ruler of those lands, Matuku Tangotango, is the one responsible for the deaths of our kinsmen. It is also said that he is a devourer of human flesh.
So where does my father lay, Mama?
My son, this is why I believe it is time. You dreamed of someone in your likeness, but he collapsed into a heap.
Yes, this is true. In a foreign land too, amongst the billows of black smoke from cooking meat. Ai, Marika, I must avenge these deaths and bring the bones of my father home to rest. How do I get to Pariroa?
In the dimly lit hours of Te Atahapara, Rātā and his people entered the Waonui a Tāne in search of a suitable tree to fell, so he may fashion a waka for his quest.
Ai, tēnā, kotia. Ai, mahi tika ana e hoa mā. This day has been long but fruitful. Let's head back now and return in the morning to hew out the shape of this vessel.
The following morning, the crew returned to start the next stage in building their waka, only to be met with bemusement and confusion.
Kei hea te rākau I hinga I te mata tonu o taku toki. Where is the tree that fell by the blade of my very own toki?
Well, perhaps it wasn't sharp enough, bro. You know, for some, I mean, not myself, but what I've heard around the island is that it's easy for some to get the rākau up, but getting it down and keeping it down is easier said than done.
What are you talking about? You were right here when I fell my rākau by my very own hands.
Hey, what you do in the wee hours of the morning is up to you, bro. Actually, I know a witch doctor who can help you with that. She helped me with this rash I got when I met this all-female haka troop over on Te Tihi o Manono. Man, they were good. But what goes on tour was meant to stay on tour. But I ended up with a parting gift, didn't I? Came with me. She made me smile, wince, and then itch.
Ka tahira! Kei tua o tā wauau o whakaaro. I don't know where this is coming from, but we need to fell this tree again. Hoake!
Rātā and his maritime engineers hacked away once again to cut down this great tree of Taringa. But once again, Rātā would return only to find this forest giant standing upright, glistening in the morning dew.
E poko! This time we fell, dress, and hew the shape out before dark. Karawhiua!
The men worked tirelessly throughout the day to shape out the waka and hollow the trunk out. Finally, the call was given to drop tools.
Ka ngangaro e Taima, o ti pai nei te mahi. E hoki koutou ki o koutou nohoanga, kia whakanā ai. The work here is done. Return to your homes and rest.
Pehea koe, Rātā. Aren't you coming?
E kao, I'm camping out to see who's messing with my rākau.
Bro, are you sure you don't want me to refer you to the witch doctor? They can help you with these things. It could be just stress. You know, you've got a lot on your plate right now.
Whakamutu atu! What are you doing, bro? Are you staying or going? If you're staying, then I need silence from you.
Rātā made himself a spot in the underwood and lay in surveillance. He had not long been hiding when he heard the forest become abuzz with the tini o hakuturi as they sang their incantation. The innumerable multitude offspring of Tāne Mahuta had come to put the tree back into its regal base. Chip by chip, shaving by shaving, splinter by splinter, the tree was restored to its virgin state. Rātā then sprang from his hideout, snatching up some of the perpetrators.
Ha! Kai te toki! So it is you that has been cursing my tree.
Your tree? Who gave you authority to fell the forest god? You have yet to seek the proper rights and karakia. Your mind is too fixated on your task beyond the great domain of Tāne Mahuta. E kira! Mea ko koe ngā karakia. Kia riro ia koe te mana o te toki kai ko waiwai. Pūri atu!
A disheartened Rātā returned home to seek counsel from his mother.
Emma, something is amiss here. Why am I not allowed this very tree?
Ui atu ki tō koroua, kia whakaihorangi. Kei ahuahu ia e noho ana. Take this query to your elder relative whakaihorangi. In ahuahu is where he dwells.
Rātā, full of curiosity, made his way to Ahuahu, seeking his koroua in the hope of finding an answer to resume his quest.
You smell of the sap of a stubborn bark. You also have the scent of ambition from your great-grandfather, Tāwhaki. What is the object of the visit, young lad?
Ai, kia ora whakaihorangi. I believe we haven't met yet. My name is...
Rātā, ai. Whaitiri ka moea kai tangata ka puta ko hema, ka moea urutonga ka puta ko Tāwhaki, ka moea hine piripiri, ka puta ko wahieroa, ka moea kurara uwhiuwhi, ka puta ko tō tero. Tēnā, ea ke te take o tō tainga mai ki konei e moko.
Okay, bit waitemaka there. Didn't have to go on about it. I mean, a simple yes, I know you would have done. Didn't have to give me the old, this is your life spiel.
Tō take moko.
Oh yeah, I'm in trouble about my tree. 3 times now I felled it, and each time it rose again into an upright position. I didn't learn the proper rights to gain authority to do so.
I don't see the problem really, lad. I would be happy to see my rākau in an upright position every morning. I can refer you to a witch doctor for that if you want, young lad. She treated me for this rash I got whilst holidaying on Te Tihi o Manono.
What? No, are you serious? No, who are these creatures that undo all my hard work?
Kia moheo mai koe moko. They are your elders.
Where do those folk belong to? Where is their home?
By the bounds of Hinemoana, on mountain tops. In tapu places they roam and dwell. In lower realms, giving on the spirit world with your ancestors, the earth mother they roam and sport. Ever joyful they move to and fro by day and night in all realms.
So, what about my tree, e kara?
Go and fell your tree, taku mokopuna. Once it has fallen, cover the stump with the paretao fern, and when the shade of night blankets the grounds of the forest, come to the tuahu and wait there until I arrive.
Rātā followed the advice of his elder, felled his tree, covered its stump with ferns, and when evening arrived, he conveyed those ferns to the tuahu, where he found Whakaihorangi standing. The elder put forth his hand, took the ferns, and waving them up and down, recited over them certain ritual, which is ever employed by priests of the tuahu and ahurewa, in connection with the felling of trees to be fashioned into canoes, ridgepoles of superior houses, carved main posts of a stockade, or cenotaphs erected in memory of high-born men and women. Such were the occasions on which this ritual was employed.
Oh yeah, we heard Taiki.
Hey, can you hear them? Whakarongo! They're returning to undo our work once again. Whakaihorangi, I auare ake tehi o tō karakia. Whakaihorangi, the chants have not worked.
Haramoho, you young lads have no resilience and always want to know the shortcuts before making the right cuts. Then now, tiro ia.
To the amazement of Rātā, all the creatures of the forest assembled together in their song and started to transform this very tree into a great war vessel. Chip by chip, shaving by shaving, and splinter by splinter, they split, sanded, sword carved, lashed and painted the great waka of Rātā.
Whoa, we i nā! Mo taku kuare. Kei raro au e kai ana I te whakamā. Excuse my ignorance. Here I am eating my own words. Tēnā koutou katoa, mō koutou I hanga tōku waka. Kukumea!
From whiti anu in the akaka nui period of the year, when Mārewa lay afloat in the sky and Autai had anchored on the horizon, Rātā te pukenga launched Aniwaru, his new waka upon a silky morning tide.
E Taima, set a course due southwest. Takapiri ki te kāinga o tonga puawa.
In the month of Te Waru, the crew of Aniwaru made landfall upon the beach of Pariroa.
Kia pai mai hoki! Look at those white sandy beaches. That line of sun-bleached driftwood right along the coast must provide easy firewood.
I wish you were right, Ehua. He puke whiau a ke ko kakatea. They are instead piles of sun-bleached human bones. He iwi kai tangata tēnei.
Hey, is that keto or paleo? I'm more of a vegan myself, but I still eat fish and seafood, so I'm like a pescatarian. Hey, why don't they eat their jesters? No? Got nothing? Okay. Because they taste funny. Putum boom.
Ka kata o niho. I will go on land to sneak up to the temple. The rest of you, set up camp here and wait for the signal. Kia matara Ehua mā. Be alert lest you feel the flames of Tahuaroa.
Under the cover of darkness, Rātā snuck his way to the dwelling of Matuku Tangotango. Matuku lived below the earth and only came out to feast on human flesh that had been prepared by his high priests, Pauhaukai and Tahuaroa. He also noticed the bones they used as the sacred wands employed to perform their chants. Just then he heard a voice from below.
What is above that shall appease my craving?
From a stealth position, Rātā saw the high priests preparing a mound of cooked human remains for their ariki.
Pakoko, ngara ho, matuku, tango, pakoko.
As the priests performed their hakahari kai, a large kumete, wooden bowl, of baked human was dragged to the entrance of the dwelling of Matuku Tangotango, and from the depths of his dwelling, he climbed out.
My mouth salivates at the aroma of Homo sapien flesh.
Like a gluttonous beast, Matuku Tangotango indulged on the flesh of men in a lustful feeding frenzy. In a daze of food intoxication, he belched out and announced,
Kua ki te puku. Kua ngata te maroto. Kua ea te kunumatanga mo te tangata. Waiho moa pōpō kia hia ia more. A stomach is full. The desire for human flesh is appeased. Leave it for tomorrow, for that craving to come again.
Matuku Tangotango fell into a deep sleep. The high priests retreated to their altar to perform the sacred practices and incantations of the night. It was here that Rātā saw them using the bones of his father Wahieroa as their wands and mystic instruments to keep rhythm whilst they performed a powerful incantation.
My father is here. There, those are his bones. They're channeling his demigod whakapapa to power their evil spells. Kaia te ahi, koina marika.
Rātā performed two matapongia, a spell rendering himself invisible, which enabled him to move in stealth toward the wicked men of the high order, and from behind he quietly pierced their jugulars with his mother's hairpiece, made from the sharpened tailbone of the toroa. Just as Rātā gathered the bones of his father, a grumbling came from the dwelling of Matuku Tangotango.
My sleep is disrupted by a weariness. Oh, Tahuaroa, speak to me the truth of my disruption.
Rātā, thinking fast, replied,
It is nothing. 'Tis only your people stoking the fires to prepare for the new day's feast. Sleep, sleep now, master.
Bring me a slight of refreshments to send me back to the house of Hineruaki Moe. I wish for a corpse to savor upon.
Indeed, your highness, indeed.
Rātā quickly threw the bodies of the priests, Pouhaukai and Tahuaroa, upon the oven rocks to cook. It wasn't long until Matuku Tangotango requested his midnight snack.
Where is my paramanawa?
Nei, it is here, prepared and ready for you.
Rātā then climbed into the large kumete bowl and hid under the seared bodies of the cooked priests. Matuku yelled out from his cavernous abode,
Tēnā haya mai, bring forth my kai.
Oh, great one, you must come out, oh hungry one. The bowl is too heavy to drag.
Matuku Tangotango busted out of his dwelling in a tantrum and stormed to the large wooden bowl. It was here Rātā could see this being's mass in its entirety. A giant with a mouth that could house two men and a gullet that dragged along the ground like an overly full dragnet.
Who dares to draw me out by the scent of my anger?
Matuku swiped up the bowl with two hands, throwing back its contents, when all of a sudden he heard a voice from his mouth. Rātā jammed the bones of his father down the throat of Matuku Tangotango, causing him to choke. Matuku Tangotango looked in shock as he saw his half-chewed fried priest fall from his mouth as he coughed and gagged. By now, Rātā had jumped out of his mouth to face the devourer of many.
Tis I, Rātā te Pukenga, nephew of Iwi Itaia, son of Wahieroa, have come to avenge their deaths, and the deaths of many of my kinsmen. Your bones from this day onward shall be fashioned and used by my people as bird spears and fishing hooks, as a perpetual revenge.
As Rātā performed his haka, Matuku Tangotango flayed and rolled around in a choking fit, like a big hapuku on the plaza of the temple until his tongue fell out and lay still. Rātā then returned home with the three species of birds, the kakerangi, the kohirangi, and the kohiwai, so they may breed and produce more beautiful plumes in Whitianuanu. He also returned with bones, spears and fishing hooks to give to all the bereaved families. And most importantly, he returned home with the bones of his father so they could be laid to rest.
Rātā.
There you go, everybody, Rātā,
Aye.
not Rata.
There's so many versions of the story.
Yeah.
It's almost one of the most well-documented stories throughout Polynesia.
Well, I think it's one that I have memories of as a child too. It's one of my favourite. Engari, yeah, you done a bit of rangahau, about it.
Yeah, so as to why Rātā went to fell a tree or went to find a tree was to avenge the death of his father, Wahiaroa, who is quite another big name throughout Māori storytelling or Māori mythology or Pacific mythology. But it talks about how Wahiaroa went on to go and him and his rangatira Manukori, he went on to find these plumes, these feathers that weren't indigenous to their land. And so they went to another land that took 4 months to cross the ocean to this place called Pariroa. And the description of the people that they said were close to the people of the Aboriginal physique. I think it shows the type of travelling that they did up in the North Pacific at the time, because I believe that's where this kōrero comes from.
How were they described? It's looking...
A prominent feature was their brow. The men were tall and of thin legs and big upper body. That's what made me think that they seemed like our whanaunga from across Te Moana Tāpokopoko a Tāwhaki. Tāwhaki, yeah.
Tēnā koe. I think from an early age, you know, e mohio ke au I tērā wā, the message what I got out of that story, or the first time I heard it, in primary school, was to conduct yourself properly when you go into the ngahere.
Aye.
And, well, at that time, well, if you're going to cut a tree down, you know, make sure you do a karakia.
Aye.
And even today, when I go to get, on very rare occasions, rongoā from the ngahere, mostly kawakawa,
Aye.
I have a little karakia
Kia ora.
to tāne mahuta. And when I gather raukawa leaves as well for the kapa, mō tai wears raukawa, yeah, I have a karakia as well. Whenever I do have a karakia, I'm reminded of the story
Tika.
of Rātā. When I see a tōtara, even though it probably wasn't a tōtara, but we think tōtara,
Yeah.
I think of Rātā.
Yeah, tika. There's a book in there. The illustrations were really cool in there. I remember.
I know the one you're talking
Yeah,
about.
the little grey one.
Yeah. Well, there was all sorts in there.
Yeah, there were some good ones there. Had Tāne in there.
Yeah, I've been looking for that book.
I remember that being the only really cool Legends book I saw. One of the things I got from it as well, this fellow was on a mission, Rātā was on a mission, or when we go in to pick things, we're on a mission, so our mind's not right, or, you know, our focus is beyond what we're doing at that present time. So I think that's the reason for the karakia, is to bring yourself into present mind, and of course the other stuff is giving thanks and asking for safe passage from the person of that domain, or from the atua of that domain. Do it everywhere in every aspect, and you know, people, we talk about mindfulness these days, that's what it is.
I think too, if you look at the karakia kakariki pō whaitere, which is part of this kōrero, to do with, you know, the adzing or the felling of a tree, the rituals are contained in that karakia as well. Kakariki pō whaitere, ko tia te pū waiho I konei, ko tia te kauru waiho I konei, o waiho I kona, e ai hoki rau I te umu o te tuhi. Those were the sacred fires and umu in relation to the felling of a tree.
Te umu hinga.
Te umu o te tuhi ki hai tai ki nā pū ki nā patua kuru, patua whao, talking about the ways to fell the tree, patua kuru, patua whao, patua te toki a tai haruru, piki ake nei te whare huka tangaroa I whitia e nuku tai maroro e. Pērā rā ko au ko hine tua hoanga, e kimi ane hau ana I te whānau a Rātā.
Kia ora.
Te whānau a Rātā, taku mohio, koenei anō tētahi kupu ingoa rānei mō ngā momo toki.
Kia ora.
I whakamahi ai ki te tope I te rākau. This was a metaphor or expression for the family of Rātā, the tools that Rātā employed to fell the tree.
Ka pai, and so that karakia That's used just for trees, or I've heard it used for other kaupapa.
A tohunga will use that karakia in the opening of a house.
Aye.
And even though it's about the felling of a tree and is more aligned to the building of a canoe,
Aye.
in reference to te whare huka huka nui a Tangaroa,
Aye.
which talks about the sea and also the house that sits, or the hut, on the double hull canoe.
Aye, kia ora.
But talking about the felling of a tree is recounting the process or the whakapapa of building the house.
Aye, kia ora.
And that at one time the house was a standing tree. So that's why a tohunga will use that karakia. Not all tohunga will
Yep.
in house openings, but if you hear it, and people may think, oh, that's for cutting a tree down. But
Yes,
it's
yes.
actually recounting the whakapapa of where the wood that was used to build that house came from. And
kia
it
ora.
was from the felling of a tree.
I think Pakaki talked about that in one of our whakapono episodes.
Mm.
That adaptation of that is to look at the series or the phase of work that goes into building something.
Yeah.
Even the effort and the, I guess, the meticulous nature of the engineers.
Yeah, definitely. Koena hoki. No reira, through that story we learn tikanga, the values attached to those tikanga and the values that those tikanga teach. And those values are having respect for tāne and respect for the treatment
Aye.
of ana tamariki, and also the respect for the creatures of the forest
Tika.
as kaitiaki of the ngahere. Koera ngārara katoa te aitanga, pepeke,
Aye.
hakuturi, they are the kaitiaki of the ngahere.
Aye. So don't go standing on all the bugs you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can't help it. But don't do it on purpose.
Yeah, or when you get them on your grill when you're driving through the bush.
If they're the introduced ones, payana.
Yeah, they're the juice ones.
Did you know that cooking oil is really good for removing those off your grill?
Cooking oil.
Yeah. But anyway, those bugs, the spiders, the weta, the ants, all of those, they're all kaitiaki and they're all part of the ecosystem of the forest.
Aye.
Te whānau o te ngahere.
Koina te kōrero, that's it, eh?
Koina te kōrero o Rātā. That's the kōrero about Rātā and the rākau.
Aye.
And to tautoko our kōrero, we're going to sing about a tōtara. It's actually one that I remember from a while ago. I don't sing that often, but I sort of end up humming it now and again. So, anei tātā te waiata.
E tū tāne mahuta?
E tū tāne mahuta.
E tū tāne mahuta. Nā wai tito?
Nā wai tito, nā Bobby Pauwhare.
Kia ora.
Whakarongo mai. Ki ari te koe, ki te tōtara, e tūranga tira, ki runga i te whenua, Mauri ora, wairua o te tōtara, e tu, tāne mahuta. Ora hia ngā here, urea nei, e te hau. Makere ana, e tu, tāne mahuta. E tu, tāne mahuta. O kia ora te iwi, that was our waiata, e tū tāne mahuta, and koina tā tātou kōrero, mo tēnei rā. And I'm not going to say kei runga noati, because it was better than kei runga noati.
Yeah, it was better than kei
It
runga
was
noati.
kaore he painga.
Kaore he painga, aye.
It was kōrunga tēnā.
Aye.
And again, we do our best to present these kōrero based on the rangahau we do.
Aye.
And while we may follow a tāhuhu kōrero, we do exercise some poetic license and creative license.
Kia ora.
Do go out there and do some research on this kōrero, Rātā and Rākau. It is one that is spoken throughout all the iwi, recounted, and across the Pacific. And kia au koina nā tino kōrero ko nā me e kōrero, e tino nā kōrero katoa, engari nā me kōrero tiana huri no te moana nui a kiwa.
Aye.
When there's stories like this that are spoken and retold on the islands of our cousins or our distant relatives, or not so distant really.
Aye.
Maybe distant in time, but not in whakapapa.
Aye.
That reminds us of our links to Te Moana Nui a Kiwa, and reminds us too of our origins.
Aye, kia ora.
Yeah. So koe nā aku kōrero mo tēnei wā, kōrero whakakapi au, puaheiri.
I just want to acknowledge the writers. They're very punctual.
Kei runga no atu. Nō re te iwi, hei ko nā mai rā, ko taringa tēnei e mihi atu nei, o tira te wānanga o te aroa, tēnā koutou katoa, hei ko nā mai rā.
Whakarongo ki te tangi a te korimako, kōrero flowing at the hook of force, kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds, kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā ko nā whakapiri mai ki te, kaupapa tino whakahira hira, whakarongo pi kari mai, hare mai, o Taringa hare mai. We gotta gather up close everybody, gather up close everybody. Kani move that body, kani move that body.
Taringa, brought to you by Te Wānanga o Aotearoa. To listen to more episodes, search for us on your podcast app and subscribe. Taringa, whakarongo mai.